Welcome back to Hi Neighbor. I'm Ned Moultrie.
And I'm Laird Davis. On today's episode, we are celebrating the success of first-generation college students and learning more about how their hard work is paving the way for future generations.
First-generation college students are defined as students who are the first in their family to earn a college degree, which often produces a number of other first obstacles to overcome.
Despite this disadvantage, our guests today are proving that breaking these barriers is possible, and we look forward to hearing their stories.
Join us on this inspiring episode as we say,
Hi, neighbor.
Although not every student is classified as first generation, some members of our campus community strive to provide younger generations with the tools they need to succeed when it comes to higher education. Here to talk to us about the on-campus club, Atlas, is Vice President Scotland McDowell. Hi, Scotland.
Hey.
Thanks for being with us today. Thank you, because I know you got a busy schedule. So it was awesome for you to come out and show some quick love. So if you don't mind me, can you first tell us about your involvement with Atlas?
Yeah, so I joined Atlas when I was a second semester freshman here, and it was kind of in the works when I first joined. So there was a mentor program that I got involved in, went through like an interview process to like become a mentor, and got paired with a high school student from around the area. But since then, it's kind of gone through like a lot of changes, so we're doing some new things this semester.
Do you remember when you joined?
That was my spring semester, freshman year, so in spring 2018. So it's been like a year and a half or so since I've been involved.
Could you give us a little bit more detail about kind of the after-school program and how it exactly works?
Right, so that's something we're getting more involved in this year. And I've been going to Avery High School, but we also go to Watauga High School every Tuesday afternoon, and we do ACT prep with the students. So that's just a really cool way for us to get closer to some high school students and just answer some of their questions about applying for college and things like that. It's really cool.
So for, you always hear about the first generation student, which is like a dope thing for anybody's family. Do they have any particular special events kind of for them or anything like that? Or is it just kind of everyone's kind of the same?
So starting out, the mentor program was targeted at specifically first generation students. So a college student would be paired with a high school student that was first generation. Since then, we've kind of broadened a little bit to reach more of like larger populations, but we do some events. Like a couple weeks ago, we did a workshop to help them with their Common App, and all the students that were there are first generation students. And we also host a college fair, which is really helpful for first generation students to be involved in and get a chance to like hear from some people from all across the United States, like different college campuses.
Yeah. So obviously, everybody has their different life experiences, different relationships with their families. Do you think Atlas provides a good kind of safe area for people who might not have the best relationships with their families, or for, in some rare cases, might not have family at all?
Yeah, I think I've definitely, especially this year, gotten a chance to really connect with some students that have some of those situations where they don't have the resources at home. So I think it's just really cool that we kind of get to bridge the gap between like a first generation student and they're coming to a huge university where everything is new and confusing, and they get a chance to like get conversations with us and get us to answer some of their questions that they might have, and just be kind of a resource for them during that time. I think it's really helpful for some of the students.
And the thing about App State is such a big campus, it's such a diverse place, and it's just big and loving, of course. But what made you exactly want to be the vice president of such a well-run and kind of a big program?
This year, I think I've just gotten more passionate about like providing just a space for people to come and ask questions about it, because if I reflect on like my own experiences, even though my parents did go to college, I still had questions. So I know that for them it has to be exponentially harder to come into just such like new and frustrating situation of like applying to college and having like all these things thrown at you at once. So I just have gotten more of a heart for that, and just especially just to bond with like some of the high schoolers around here and get an opportunity to like give back to the community too.
And it's such like a family like atmosphere. That's what's so dope about it. It's just you feel so connected. But so a stressful part of coming to school, applying to college, because first you got to pick your college because there's like thousands. But would you give any advice to people kind of applying for college to maybe make it more simple, easier? Because that is a very hectic time for people in their life.
I think in senior year, like when you're applying for college, the best things are just to develop some good habits, like managing your time well and planning ahead and kind of looking around and talking to people that go to different colleges and just see what kind of fits the atmosphere that you're looking for. But I would say one of the biggest things is just to plan ahead and do research on like where you're headed and figure out what's going to be the best fit for you and not really let other people's opinions influence that decision, but just let it be something that is guided by what you're passionate about and where you feel like you're going to belong the most in a community.
Yeah, do what's best for you.
Yeah.
People always there's so many opinions, everybody swears they're right. Do what's best for you.
Right.
And we're talking about Atlas still, what are some of your hopes for maybe some bigger goals in the future, just things y'all would like to accomplish?
Yeah, so this year we've started partnering with the First Gen Club on campus, and we're planning to do some like events together. But I think it'd be really cool if we could get just more connected with them and the things that they're doing and try to really be a resource for specifically First Gen students and really target them, even people that are First Gen students on campus at App State already, just that we could be a safe space for them to come if they still have questions about things, because it can still be really confusing even after you're accepted to a college. And also we're partnering with Mountain Alliance this year, which is another nonprofit in Boone, and they do after school programs, and they also do fully funded trips for high schoolers to do like service on like the river, and they take them on camping trips and they take them to college campuses and things like that. So I'd like to see us get more connected with them and just the things that they're doing, because they do a really good job of reaching out to new people and bonding with the students like on a deeper level. So I would hope that we could get more kind of involved with those too.
Y'all are just so hands-on. Like, it's just so awesome that you get to actually, a lot of programs, they do help, but it's just kind of, it seems like it's from a computer screen. Y'all just actually go out there and do it. That is just so dope. Thank you so much for speaking with us. Stay tuned as we continue sharing our high country community on this episode of High Neighbor.
To me, it's very, it's an experience that's shared by a lot of people, I feel. A lot of people that I surround myself with, where the people that I know, most of us are first-generation students. We're the ones that are leading the path for our families and for those that are coming after us. And so from my experience, it was more like figuring it out so it'll be easier for the next person.
I think it's that step of growing within our families, growing, like Hillary said, for the generations that are like coming after us. It's definitely hard because we have to traverse everything on our own. There's no one that we can go to that has been through this experience in our own families, which are people that we are most comfortable with. So it's just really difficult, and we're just pushing through day by day.
I felt like I really didn't have a guidance in high school when it came to applying to college. I just knew I had to apply. So I remember Googling like how to apply to college, how to apply to a 4-year, what's the process? And I remember like having to take the SAT and ACT and then like, okay, I have to get this score in order to apply to this school. And I remember like comparing it in like a journal and was like, okay, I can get into this one, this one, and this one. And I mean, all the ones I applied to, I got into, but then I didn't know the process after that. And so that was the confusing part.
Compared to my peers, I had to go through everything by myself. It was, whether it was the SAT, the ACT, all the tests, applying to schools, applying for financial aid, sending stuff out to schools, everything was done by myself, for myself, essentially. There was no one that I could really go to. My high school counselor was somewhat of a help, but I had to figure out the process, like, on a day-by-day basis. Like, it's just a lot.
Definitely get involved and communicate to, I don't want to say an adult, but somebody who is like faculty, staff, administrator, communicate to them, because for me, my freshman year was like rough because, that whole transition phase. But I'm thankful that I had somebody in MSC, like an administrator, or like he was a grad student at the time, but he was somebody that I could confide in and somebody that like helped guide me through the situations I was going through because I had no idea. And so like getting involved and creating those relationships that will be long lasting, because more like it'll be more likely that they'll be there the entire time that you're there.
I guess the feeling of learning something yourself and knowing that you can teach your future children, your future family, like just kind of like she said earlier, like passing it on and like helping them, because you know that when you were a first generation, you struggled, and knowing that they won't struggle as much as you did is what is the most rewarding about being a first generation student.
To me, it's like the accomplishment of like knowing that the seeds that my parents planted, I am the fruit that is coming from that. Like I will be the person that changes, like whether it be generational wealth, financial literacy in my family, I will be that person. And it's just like, it makes me really proud knowing that like I am that person that is carving the way for my family.
The First Generation Student Association was recently founded as a space to unite first-generation Mountaineers and to educate non-first-gen students through events. I am joined here today with Diana Sanchez, the president of the First Generation Student Association, and Denise Velasquez, a member of the organization. Thank you so much for being on the show, you two.
No, thank you for having us.
So, could you share with me a little bit of what it's like being a first-generation student here at App State?
So being first gen at App State is challenging, I will say that, because when orientation was happening, we didn't really have like a tailored orientation to educate us on resources that were available to us. Being first gen, you don't know what's out there, you don't know what to expect going into a four-year university. So there's a lot of questions. We don't know, what the terminology means. We don't know how FAFSA works. We don't know how even setting up classes works. So I feel like being a first-gen student here, it was a little challenging, but fortunately I was able to manage and find mentors throughout the way that were able to guide me through my path.
Overall, it was pretty hard getting here. I struggled a lot because my parents weren't a lot of help. They didn't really graduate like that. And then at school, I only had one teacher that could help me, and she would be missing sometimes, and it would be hard. But then when I got here, I was able to get more help from people around Appalachians. They helped me. My friend Angela helped me. A lot of people helped me out to get here at this point where I'm at.
So Denise, you just mentioned a little bit about your parents' reaction, but Diane, how did your family react to you being the first person in your family to go to college?
So there were a lot of questions that arose when I told him I wanted to go to a four-year university. It was originally planned that I would go to a community college because financially it was not available, that money was not available for me to go and pursue a four-year university. So that was the main worry for us. How are we going to pay for this? My parents were very encouraging, pursue higher education, but we have to be smart financially. We don't want to, have that burden of, you going out and how we're going to manage that debt as a family. So thankfully, I did really well in high school. I pushed myself to strive for better, be the best. And it was a lot of hard work, but with that came the rewards, which were like scholarships. And so I'm here on scholarships, and it's been a very fortunate thing for me and my family to be the first and not have to go through that day. I know for a lot of first-gen students that's not the case, but that's how it worked out for me. And I know there's still a lot of struggle with other first-gen students that have that financial burden. But overall, it was a good thing for us that I went on for a four-year track.
And Denise, you mentioned that you had a lot of support from a teacher in high school. Is that correct?
Yes, she helped me a lot through it.
Yeah. And so moving into the next stage, I mean, I had a support system in high school as well that like led me into college, but I kind of felt isolated once I got here personally. How has this organization helped you acclimate?
At first it was scary because I didn't see anyone I recognized. No one from my school came, so I was scared. I knew my roommate, and then from there on I went to expand. I went to the Club Expo where I found First Gen, and it was really nice. From there I met more people, so I just needed that little push, and First Gen really helped me find people and find things that I needed.
Now, Diane, you are a senior now, and you were around when the organization first began. Can you tell me a little bit about the reasons behind the founding of First Generation?
Yeah, so like I said, First Gen students don't know what they're getting themselves into coming into college. So the reason that this club was founded was to provide that space for First Gen students to feel welcome, to have, friends that have been through the same journey, know their struggles, someone that they can relate to, and that's what the club is geared to work towards. So we provide that community to develop leadership. We provide resources, whether it be like knowing how to fill out FAFSA, like professional development. We provide volunteer opportunities, but it's all learning together as a First Gen community, and that's the unique thing about this organization, is that we all learn together and we learn from each other's struggles and experiences.
Now, what kind of events does First Generation put on, and what kind of things can people expect if they want to get involved?
Yeah, so a lot of community-based building, a lot of volunteer, but mostly it's just a space, like I said, to learn. We are having the First Generation College celebration on November 8th. It's like the national day to celebrate First Gen students. So we're having that first celebration here at App State, and we're really excited. We're going to have faculty and staff that were First Gen come out and mingle with students. We're going to give out T-shirts. Just have like a day to celebrate those students, let them know that they are acknowledged here at App State, make them feel special. They've been working hard. We see it. Also, just to raise awareness too. A lot of people don't really know what a First Generation student is, but a third of App State's population is First Gen, and so even sometimes First Gen students don't know that they themselves are with that identity, and so we just want to raise awareness to those students and to other students who may not be First Gen and recognize that it's here.
And Denise, being a First Generation student, have you had moments where your status as a First Generation student has created a difference in experience or a gap, something that has got in the way of interacting with your peers?
In high school it did. A lot of my friends would ask their parents for stuff and resources and stuff, and I would just be like, oh, I can't really ask my parents. They don't really understand that. All they could do is just sign paperwork, and I would have to read it for them, so I really did struggle throughout there. But here I feel like I don't struggle as much because I found someone to help me, and I found friends and people around me to help me, so I don't feel like it makes a difference, but it does when I graduate and I have that cap on and people tell me oh yeah, she graduated.
And final question, as First Generation students, how does being the first person in your family to go through college motivate you to strive, to perform, and to achieve?
Yeah, so for me personally, my parents encouraged me, and it's just, for me, being the first in my family to go to college, it's not just for my achievement, it's for the achievement, success of my family, and it's for us to all move forward together. As First Gen students, we feel like there's a pressure to excel in what we do at an early age, and so we don't want to spend the time and resources, money, not accomplishing that, and so we try to do it the best we can. I think also being First Gen, there's multiple identities that play part with it, and so this intersectionality, also being Mexican American, being the first of your family, low income status also plays a role, and so I think education is a great gateway for First Gen students, and especially if you find something you're passionate about. I want to pursue medicine, and so doing that will not only benefit me, but will benefit my family as a whole.
Yeah, I used to love what she said. Like, I just want my parents to be happy of what they did, because they did immigrate over here and they did put all the work, and now I have to go on 4 years and then graduate and then have that, nice certificate on the wall.
Yeah, it's always important to have something to strive for, and you both seem extremely motivated and are working with a very important organization. So once again, thank you so much, both of you, for being on the show.
Thank you so much.
That's it for this week's episode.
Thank you so much for joining us to hear more about everything first-generation students must overcome in order to make it on their first day of college, and how the work is far from over once they become Mountaineers.
And thank you to our on-campus clubs who showed us how students and faculty strive to ease this challenging transition. We hope today's episode will inspire you to get involved around campus.
Make sure to follow us on Facebook and Instagram at watchapptv.com, and check out our YouTube channel, AppTV, for more content.
Until next time, bye neighbor.